Hi everybody, it's Marcy and I'm here with part 2 of my file folder folio journal. And in the last one I was taping all of my what do you call it? Uh spine. Wow. Spine edges or spines. And so I did that, and I was using the medical cloth tape. And here you can see I've distressed. I'm using green. Since Cara's journal is sort of a rainbow of colors, the green and the cactus was the one unifier that I found, so I decided to do green distressing. So this image actually is one of Cara's ephemera pieces. If I can find it real quick. Yeah, it was this ephemera piece, and I blew it up to full page size and used that as the background here. I just loved it, and that's what I wanted my page here to be. And then I've got, these are from the same sheet, just the edges of the same sheet. And then I've got the front and the back. They're from the same sheets of paper. And then for my other pockets, I've got this one, which will go here. And it's covered on both sides. So that will go there like that. And this one will go like that. So the next thing I need to do is I need to go ahead and glue my pockets on, glue these pockets on. So I'm actually going to run my glue on the small edge, since it is smaller. And I'm using Fabri-Tac just so it'll grab quicker, and then I will be sewing around it. Okay, I'm lifting my spine because I want to be sure that my pocket does not get caught in my spine. And I'm going to clamp this edge for a second. And this edge for a second. Pull this down. Sometimes it can take the Fabri-Tac just a second to grab, but once it does, it's good to go. So I'm just trying to be sure that it does grab well. And like I said, I will be taking these in just a moment and sewing around them. Okay. So now I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And again, lifting my outside page and actually folding it in a bit, just to be sure, so I can see that it's lined up, and just to be sure that that pocket is not getting caught in the gutter of my spine. That way everything will fold back in the way I want it to. And again, put a clamp on each side. Be sure my glue is burnished down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew across the bottom and across the top. This is not a step that has to be done, but it's something I enjoy doing. So I'm going to take these over. I'll give the glue just a second more to dry. Then I'll take these over and sew the top and the bottom, and then I will be right back. Okay, I sewed around my edges, and I thought I would go ahead and sew the bottom edge of these pockets as well. And I did remember, since I'm using a heavyweight file folder, to put in a heavy-duty needle, but I forgot to change the tension, so I've got some really messy stitching that was on the underside. We're just going to call it part of the charm, because there's nothing I can do about it at this point. So, I've got this pocket, and this pocket. And this one, I'm not going to do anything on this flap. I will just put stuff in the pocket. But on this flap, I want to go ahead and make the little notepad that I put on there. So, what I've got is I've got a piece of cardstock that is 3 1/4 inches wide by 8 inches tall. And I'm going to flip it over to the reverse side, and I am going to mark ½ an inch from the top, and draw a line across. And I'm going to mark 3/8 of an inch from each edge. So 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch is there. And 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch from that edge. Okay. Now I'm going to take my crocodile. I'm going to use the 1/8 hole punch. And as best I can, punch a hole in the center of where my 2 points intersect. Okay, so now I've got 2 holes there. So now I'm going to use a metal edge ruler and line it up to just above the very bottom of the holes, and grab my X-Acto knife. I want to be able to feel where the holes are, which is why I say just above that bottom edge. And I'm going to cut a slit there, and now I'm going to move my ruler up to just beneath the top edge and do the same thing. Just take it across from one hole to the other hole. And now I've got a slit in that. Okay. Then, be very careful with your X-Acto knife. Then I've got a piece of my file folder that I cut to 2 1/2 inches wide by 7 3/8 inches long. And I've got some little note papers that are also cut to 2 1/2 inches wide by 7 3/8 inches long. I just used some scraps that I had in my scrap drawer. So they fit right on top of that file folder piece. Okay, now I've got another scrap from where I was gluing down my base papers that is 2.5 inches wide. This one is about 3 inches long, but it doesn't really matter. And I want it about 1/2 inch to, well, to go down, that's not true. I want it more than 1/2 inch. No. 1/2 inch would be about right. However far you want it. And I'm going to wrap that around so that the longer part of it is on the back. Get that nice and snug and be sure everything's as lined up as I can get it. And I'm going to glue down the little back piece. Like I said, mine was cut to 3 inches. It doesn't need to be that long. Okay. Now holding my papers in place, I'm going to take both of these, and this I'm just going to eyeball, which is dangerous for me. Again, using my 1/8 inch. It's not going to be deep enough in. And I'm going to punch through my papers. Like I said, this is normally I measure these out because I do not trust myself. So this probably is not going to come out super even. Okay, then I'm going to put a couple of brads through. And I already messed up. If you don't glue down this back until you already have your brads through, then you can use the back flap to cover up your brads. Just a little hint, which is what I intended to do and what I've done before, but I got ahead of myself, thought I was being smart, and so what I've got is my brads showing through, which is fine. Doing it this way does allow you to change out the paper. Like if you use all the sheets of paper you've put on this little pad, it does allow you to change out the paper pad. So then what will happen is this little notebook or notepad will slide right down in here and sit. Pretty as can be. So what I'm going to do is pull my notepad back out. And I'm going to put that right here on this front edge, which will work well because that will also help disguise some of that messy stitching. So when I glue this, I do not want to glue in this area. I can glue above the slit here. And then I'm going to go down the sides and across the very bottom and up the other side. But I'm leaving all of this in the center without any glue on it. Because if I put glue in the center there, then the back of my notepad won't go in. So let's get that lined up as best we can before the art glitter glue grabs on and says, okay, you're done. And now, your little notepad. Actually, I'm going to round the corners on this little, on the back piece of this, just because that does make it a little easier to slide. And your little notepad slides right on. And the only other thing I'm going to put right here is these papers will tend to flop as you move. So I'm going to use this little succulent that was part of the kit. If I can get it lined up. I don't really want it on that side. I really want it on that side. Yeah, I'm just going to glue that right on these edges and put that down just to help hold the corners of that paper so that when I'm moving, opening and closing the folio, these papers don't flop around. So it doesn't need to be anything big or fancy, or it can be. Just a little something to help hold those papers secure. Still comes in and out very easily, but just keeps them from flopping around. Okay. So there's the first item. And I think that's actually where I'm going to stop this video. Until next time, everyone, please be safe, stay healthy, happy crafting, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.